Hey, what is up guys? Guitarrock here, welcome back to another Brave 9 video. Alright, today we're gonna talk about Velfern. I am truly excited for Velfern. I don't care how the companion looks like. I actually don't really have like a special fetish towards that guy. Alright, but I know for sure that Velfern is gonna be strong. Alright, so right now, if you look at him, if you look at Velfern, stare at him, look at his skills, you will know that he is actually still in the meta. Like probably compared to a lot of other like legendaries, right? He's easily strong enough to withstand the meta. Like, I wouldn't say like he has fallen off, like compared to Mamone and stuff. He's still really niche, but he's really strong, right? And that's something that I want to talk about. So, if you haven't seen how Velfern's companion looks like, boom. Alright, so this is obviously a guy, right? Alright, so I think we saw this coming pretty much. There's 3 girls and 1 guy, but I thought there was like 2 and 2. Apparently, Velfern is the only one that will have a male companion. So, I guess the ratio of this game is always 3 to 1. 3 females and 1 male. Okay, so this is the companion's artwork. I think it's pretty cool looking. If you look at this demon right here, this mouth right here, this head right here, I like it. Alright, so all of this seems to be coming out from this huge gigantic coffin, which this guy seems to be holding. I hope they can come up with a better story with this guy. I really hope that it's not like some sort of brother or something, like just like how with Vals is something like a sister. I don't really like siblings relationship. I just wish that this is someone different. Like, I'm just always curious, who will this be? Velfern's servant or Velfern's butler, something along those lines. That's gonna make things more cooler instead of just always like brother and sister all the time. It's gonna be a bit boring in my opinion. But yeah, that's for the lore, and hopefully they'll come up with something creative. Okay, Velfern, let's talk about Velfern a short while, and then we can compare him with a lot of other things. So looking at Velfern right now, okay, he has this awesome skill which gives him 95% defense before he attacks. So by default he has 0% defense, so 95% is pretty cool. I'm not sure why 95%. The only thing that I can think of is so that this will have room for improvements in the future. So this will be definitely go to 100% or hopefully, you know, somewhere along those lines. And then he has this skill, okay? So this is what makes him truly unique energy guard, similar to Mamonair. They are the only 2 with this particular guard skill, okay? So where this thing scales with HB. And he has this ability right here. Now this is probably his main damage, where most of the time his main damage is going to come from here. So deals fixed additional damage to enemies in proportion to the number of graves in both battlefields. I know there are a few other mercenaries that relies on battlefields as well, like Benshina or Laraposa, but those will only rely on graves on either one side, either on the allies or on the enemy. But Velfern is pretty unique in terms of, you know, both graves, and it will give you this amount of damage, which is pretty cool. Okay, so debuff immunity, that's why you always want to use Velfern at least +3, because he has this unlock. By default, you don't have the debuff immunity. Velfern below +3 is just truly bad. Alright? Whenever he hits anyone on the battlefield, he's gonna get cursed, he's gonna get charmed. Like, it's just not fun. Not Velfern with no debuff immunity is just... it's the suckiest Velfern ever. Pretty much useless. So, the only thing that I can think of for them to change, or for them to improve upon Velfern, going into +11, +12, +13, +15 onwards, is the first skill. Okay, so I think this skill needs to go. It doesn't make sense. Deals fixed additional damage based on the number of applied debuff skills to enemies. Okay, so number of enemies debuff times attack times 200% additional damage. Alright, so this makes sense when Velfern was first released, because back then, not many units have immunity, right? Nowadays, every single like 5-star, even 4-star have debuff immunity. So it's pretty crazy. And this skill is just not going to serve much. It would be much nicer if he can just get bonus attack or something alongside with enemies' graves, instead of, you know, to complement with this skill, to basically give even higher boost to this particular skill. I don't know, it's just something that I would love to see. Something that can help him defensively as well, so that he doesn't die as easily. I know Velfern is with his energy guard, he's pretty insane. 2 vital runes is going to be able to stack a lot of insane amount of energy guard, right? But at the end of the day, this skill and this particular skill, both of these seems truly outdated. They need to improve it. I'm not sure how are they going to improve upon this. 100% defense permanently is going to be a bit broken, I think, for Velfern, because he already have energy guard. So I think that is... I really hope that doesn't happen, but maybe they could give him some sort of barrier. I think that would be cool if Velfern has some sort of barrier, some sort of incoming damage reduction, that can, reduce 50% reduction. That can actually help, because if you think about it, since Velfern is fully reliant on energy guard, that means enemy will try to crit to go through this energy guard to deal as much damage as they can. So enemy like Taylor and Yuri used to be like super famous in dealing with Velfern. So if he has high incoming damage reduction, that's going to help his survivability in a way. I've been getting questions asking Velfern Mamone, who should I pick? Even though the skills aren't out yet, a lot of players have already swarmed me with this question. I'm going to say Velfern, obviously, okay? So if you look at the current meta right now, why am I siding with Velfern? I know this is going to upset all the tentacle lovers out there, I get it. You guys love Mamo, you guys want her to be good. But in my opinion, out of these 4, I think Velfern is the one that they're going to modify the least. Okay, so Velfern is the next Livia. Now what do I mean by that? If you look at the previous Octo, we have Lucius, Seto, Livia and Beliaf. Who was the worst one out of these 4 before the rework? It was Seto, right? Seto received the most amount of rework. So Seto is pretty much, they just completely rework her entire kit. Like, it just changes drastically. It changes the concept of him entirely, and he's just now super insane, like a godly warrior right now. And if you look at Livia, right? Livia doesn't have any changes at all. As far as I remember, up to plus 10, right? She doesn't have any changes at all. Now up to plus 12, of course she gets 100% defense onwards, and she also has something called direct damage to the main target. So that is pretty cool. But Livia, plus 10 and below, doesn't have any changes at all, because her kit was already solid to begin with, right? So Velfern, in my opinion, is like Livia. He doesn't have anything that needs major rework compared to someone like Vals, Mamone or Aspert. I feel like Velfern is in a way much more solid spot, not only because of his skills and his kit, but also because of competition. Velfern has 0 competition right now. Alright, so what do I mean by 0 competition? Look at the magicians right here. Look at the magicians right here. Who is Velfern going to compete with? Livia, okay. Celia, which nobody seems to want to build, I don't know why. She is always locked behind that mileage, and a lot of players are going to be hesitant to try to build her, right? So the only true competition for Velfern is either Nates or Livia. Alright, so we will see. I'm not sure how Velfern is going to be better than Nates. If they can improve her skill and give her higher damage modifier, I do think that Velfern is going to be better than Nates in an overall solid situation, where Velfern will not die to counter. For example, Velfern will never die to Jin or Seto and those things, right? Nates will always die to those things. Yes, Nates wipes an entire lane, but he will always have that Ignore Taunt to basically push him beyond certain boundary in certain formations, whereas Velfern will have a different role where he can tank hits, a couple of hits probably, and try to deal fixed damage along the way, right? So if we compare someone like Vals, for example, right? So Vals, I think she's in a way harder spot because Alec is so good, right? Like, how do you convince players to build her, to try to gacha her and build her, compared to someone just, using that 1.5k ancient coins to just buy Alec and build Alec instead? Because at the end of the day, you can only have 9 units in the formation, you can only have so many warriors, right? So that's something to consider. Same goes for Mamone. Look at the competition in terms of defender. Like I've mentioned before, alright, we have Kaelin, we have Bane, we have Arkan, right? Even Glacial plus 15 I think is a better Mamo. So, and Lucius himself is still there, right? Lucius himself is still here. So how is Mamone going to compete with all of these tanks? I have no idea. Who is Velfern's competition right now? Nates? Livia? Let's have a look. She is not really a magician, alright? She's more of a supporter. Catherine, like, come on. it's not even a competition. Velfern is going to be better for sure. Who can compete with Velfern? Which 5-star can stand toe-to-toe with Velfern? Velter is a tank, so you can't really compare that. Frisha, yeah, she will have that niche role where she's going to use her skills and probably her death guard, but she requires a bit of setup, a bit of RNG to basically proc certain things. I don't know, man. If you look at all of these 5 stars, not many of these can compete with Velfern. Maybe except for the lolly, Lara Posa. Alright, I know some players have been saying that, you know, Lara Posa is very strong, and I've seen a lot of players use her. She does deal with enemies that have 100% defense. But Velfern is just going to be straight out better at +3, I think. So overall, this is just my take on this. I feel like Velfern has no competition, and therefore he's going to be able to be a much more obvious candidate for the Magician role. Alright, and that is going to fit into a lot of teams, because I do know a lot of players do not have Rapitia but they have Seoul-Ah, right? So having Velfern into the mix is probably going to bring back the Seoul-Ah meta, and Seoul-Ah is just insane. She's just insane. She's very good. She gives all your units, you know, this amount of defense. You just need 2 defenders, a bunch of healing, and she gives this amount of buffs, which is crazy, but you need 4 magicians. And yeah, I think with Velfern being back in the meta, I think players that, you know, have been trying to build Seoul-Ah or are enticed to build her is gonna run her more frequently than before. And I do think that's going to probably switch up the meta a little bit, and we're gonna have a bunch of variety. Yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Alright guys, so that's gonna be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, give this video a like. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day. Goodbye.